welcome to the show. You're listening to On the Waterfront with Coach. I'm Marina Hernandez, currently an ID.
Thank you, Marina. My name is Zed Barreras. They call me Coach on the Waterfront, and I'm very, very happy that we have this program going to serve all the longshoremen in the area.
Yeah, and people curious about what we do, about the port. So it's for longshoremen. It's for people who are interested in the operations of the port, wouldn't you say?
Yes. We're going to try to hit every aspect of the waterfront as we go through our program here. Mm-hmm. And you guys will get informed on current events and things from the past also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so to start, I want to talk about the most recent thing that just happened, at least for me and for us, the Labor Day parade. We just had the Labor Day parade. Lot of fun. It was really, really cool to go to. Me, Luna, and Fern volunteered, passed out a ton of hot dogs. There were over 1,000 hot dogs because there were like 1,000 foil things that we wrapped, and we exceeded those foil things that we wrapped the hot dogs. So it was a shitload of hot dogs. People were eating a lot of hot dogs.
Right.
And then we were adjacent to the stage, so Mayor Bass was there. Mm-hmm. Tim McCosker was there. So we had some really good guest speakers.
Right.
That was nice.
Right. A few years ago, when Buddy was a youngster, there was all kinds of big name people. Jesse Jackson was at this was at the parade one year, and we have a picture in our living room with Buddy and Jesse Jackson. So Jane Fonda was out here one time, and there's been a lot of dignitaries that come down here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's right across from, Banning Park.
Mm-hmm.
It's filled. There's not only the longshoremen, but there's other unions, many other unions that are there that it's nice to talk to other unions and find out we all support each other.
Right. Yeah, actually somebody was also working the booth with me. I forgot what, maybe the Carpenters Union,
right.
Like somebody else was there helping. So it was a good experience. Right. I kind of got a little emotional just because I feel like I'm exposing Luna and Fern to like what I do and why it's important, because I hadn't done this before.
Right.
So explaining to them that this parade's for us. We're sometimes, we're called labor on the port. That's what we're called, the labor, right?
Right.
So, so it's like, I'm like, oh, this parade is for me, actually.
Yeah, it's real important. Right. It's real important because the whole harbor, the whole waterfront shuts down except for passengers, military, or perishables. And right now, the only thing we have going right now is the passengers. So every longshoreman, was off that day.
Right. And there were a lot of longshoremen represented there. Well, I think that's the part that got me emotional was like everybody shouting in the parade, like they had a chant. I didn't memorize it yet, but the chant that they were saying, like ILWU, like I was like, I don't know, it just got to me.
It's an experience. If you've never been to the Labor Day parade, it's a must. Next year, it's a must. I encourage all of you guys to come on down and bring your family. Mm-hmm. It's a family affair, and it's across at Banning Park and see the Banning Mansion, and it's a beautiful setting out there.
Yeah, and I think Local 13 sponsored like a kids zone, so it's definitely family friendly. They had I really like seeing the lowriders, especially Wilmington and Harbor area represents for the lowriders.
Those cars are beautiful cars.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
very
nice. So let's see. Okay, the next thing I want to get to is I've been driving a lot of UTR. Now that summer's over, I've been taking some UTRs to get the comebacks. And for the past 2 days, I've been in lane 1, and it's so stressful. 5 cranes working. So let me explain. So we come in through the aft end or the back part of the ship, and you're in the lane closest to the ship, and there's 5 cranes working. So it feels like those gauntlets where like someone throws the balls and it's like moving like this. You know what I mean? I am so grateful for the swingmen because if they're not on it, I'm like looking like this, but they're like, okay, go. And they're checking everything. So it was easy, but it's very stressful.
Stressful. Yeah.
Because
stressful.
You don't know, because cans tumble off of ships.
Well, now that you brought that subject up, a few years ago, I was at NYK, and there was a driver in lane number 1, crane driver comes out. There's 3 cans in the inshore side. He hits them. They come tumbling down And oh my goodness, when I got there, the container was literally right next to, there was a young lady right next to her, and it knocked the mirror off. It landed right next to her.
Oh,
It was horrible. You know, all three containers.
she was safe, but she was shaken
She
up,
was safe.
I'm sure.
Oh, she was safe. Nothing happened to her, but she came so narrowly from getting really, injured. But anyway, I haven't seen her since.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like that would definitely traumatize someone. A huge container slamming down, falling down inches from your face.
It was inches from her.
Yeah.
Inches from her.
See, that's why I'm like so cautious in that lane 1, because then you're passing by 5 different cranes with that kind of scenario,
Right. As foremen,
mm-hmm.
we try to emphasize that when we have all them cranes going there, make sure that them signalmen are on the game,
mm-hmm.
making sure that they stop, they make sure the lids are not coming off, and it's dangerous there.
Yeah, shout out to the Nightside ITS swingmen, because my life was in your hands and I'm still here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So that's just a little brief insight into what I've been doing, at least at work. So Dad, our guests, your BFFs, you have a lot of BFFs down here.
A lot of guys. These guys are two of my favorite guys.
Okay.
I have a lot of favorite guys, right? But Al Galuppo, he's steady at China, Yangming. Him and I, he was a gearman at Yangming when I was a chief supervisor there. And him and I have a good rapport. We became really close and good friends, up to this day. And we would joke around. I would joke around with him. And I said, "Hey, Al, come on over here." He go, "Big bang, take little bang." And he would laugh. I don't play that game with him anymore because he's big bang. But great guy. And the other guy is Drew Gutierrez.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Gutierrez he's on the trustees. No, actually not trustees. He's an executive board, and he's involved with a lot of the behind the scenes. I want to call it. He goes to all the committees. He meets all the dignitaries, and he's really a liaison between us and the elected officers of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's also very tall.
Well, his dad, they call him Stretch.
Oh, okay.
So does that tell you something? Yeah. His dad was a longshoreman for a long, long time. And then he became a clerk, and he would visit me, and he was like my mentor.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, Stretch. I owed a lot to him, and I try to do things the way he used to do, because the way he treated people and the way he worked, his work ethic. He was a good guy, and that apple didn't fall far from that tree.
Oh, that's nice. We're gonna post the photo, and yeah, he's looming over us.
He's a big man.
He's a big guy.
He's a big man.
Okay, so that's it for our guest.
Right.
Looking forward to that interview. A lot of interesting stories, good stories.
Good stories.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. Okay, so let's get to Buddy. Buddy, we're sending it over to you.
Take over, buddy.
For our community spotlight, we wanted to take a moment to shout out the Avalon Arts and Cultural Alliance. If you're in the harbor area and you're looking for something creative, fun, and authentically community-driven, check out the Avalon Arts and Cultural Alliance in Wilmington, California. They've got free art classes for kids, music workshops, paint nights, even breakdancing and DJ sessions, all happening at their creative center located at 616 North Avalon Boulevard. It's all about building community through the arts. Everything that they do is local, inclusive, and totally welcoming, whether you're a parent, an artist, or someone who just wants to engage with their community. Follow them on Instagram at AvalonArtsCA to see upcoming events, or head to AvalonACA.org for more information and ways to donate. Again, that's the Avalon Arts and Cultural Alliance in Wilmington, California. Go check them out and give them a follow.
Gas on filming. All right.
I'm Al Galuppo. I'm currently with Local 94, and I'm going on my 30th year.
I'm Drew Gutierrez, ILWU Local 94, Reg 37553, and my 30th year also.
Thanks, you guys, for being here.
Thank you for
I feel
having
like
us.
it's been a little while. My dad has been saying you guys are coming on, and the timing just didn't work out. So I'm glad that it finally worked out for both of you guys to be here.
Yes, pleasure.
Thank you.
So we'll start. Al, how did you get started down here on the waterfront?
God, you know what? This job wasn't even on my radar. I was trying to become a fireman. I was working at the supply maintenance division for LA City. I was doing cadet. I was going to school. So my life completely revolved. Whatever I was doing was with the fire department. So around, what year was that? Let's see. Had to be like 94. They had a big hiring freeze. I got a little discouraged. So I was like, man, what am I going to do? I'm not one of those guys just going to sit around. And for the life of me, I still can't remember how I found out about the casual hall, but somehow I got down there, and it took me like almost 6 months, and my name finally got drawn. And from there, there was this big rumor that we were going to get hired, and it happened, and I got my ID in 97, and here I am, you know. And my dad was Local 33, the Fishermen's Union. He was down here in the late 70s, but, you know, as Coach and I have talked about, you know, this job was hard and the money wasn't there. And, you know, my dad moved on, bought a boat. And so I've always been in the waterfront, just, you know, just at a different capacity. You know, I actually worked with my dad on his boat. So I know what it is to be, you know, on the water. But here I am 30 years later with the ILW, proud and blessed.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Drew,
Yeah.
how about you? How'd you get started?
So I got my casual card at a young age. I was 18 years old, right out of high school.
Little baby.
Little baby, yes. Right. And then went away to college at San Diego State. And then in between, like on the weekends in the summer, I would come back and then work. And then I graduated in 95, 96. And then when I graduated, I had already accumulated like over 3,000 hours. So then I came back home and then got registered within like 6 months, and that was 97. So, you know, the rest is history.
So what do you have your degree in?
Public administration,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Cool. So is that kind of lining up with?
And by the politics?
Yeah,
within
yeah.
a little bit. You know, it's helped. So here's my thing with my college degree. My college degree is like, I'm proud of it. Obviously, the work I put in, but at the same time, it's something that my kids could see as an achievement that's real when I preach to them, right? So when you have your own kids, you want to say, hey,
Right.
go to college. I'll help you. I'll pay you. But then they look at me and they can't say, well, what do you mean? You didn't go to college. I'm going to be, yeah, I did.
You're like, look right here, my degree.
Exactly, right? It becomes real.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't
Yeah.
take that away from them.
No, you can't.
No.
Right?
Got
Mike.
that degree.
That's why we work. That's why we work hard for our kids, to help them advance and put them through school.
Well, that's right. So so I went to Cal State Long Beach. I have a bachelor's in liberal studies. I have my multiple subject teaching credential. I taught at Broad Avenue Elementary. I taught fourth grade for a few years. And then I wanted to be a principal, so I even have a master's in education administration. So that was my trajectory, and things kind of changed. But that was my trajectory. And my dad paid for that with this job. And so then my brother Ed went to Berkeley, and then Buddy went to Cal State Long Beach to get an engineering degree. And Dad, I have to apologize to you because when he paid for my education, but I had no student loans or anything. And do you remember what you told me? Okay, he said,
No, I don't.
I'll pay for, but when you get your job, you pay for Buddy when he goes to college. And
But-
I said, okay, you got it.
Did you pay?
Hell no, I did not. No, I still owe you some money for Buddy's education.
Okay.
Don't forget now, Coach.
Right. Now, on the same line as we're talking about education, Al, talk about your son. Now, he's going to be,
God.
go ahead. Nick.
He's
you
a rock
talk.
star. Like, the kid's been programmed since he's been 5. He's wanted to be a lawyer, and he's made the dream come true on his own. I finished at a 2-year degree AS in fire science, so, but he's doing it, and he's already on his 2nd year. And my daughter's at UCSB, wants to be an accountant. So, yeah, they're on their way. But it's like, I'll be honest, Coach. Like, like, I told them the best gift they're gonna have is they're gonna come out of college and not be debt free.
No
Like,
debt.
that's the best
that's a
gift you
big
can give
gift.
That's
these guys,
huge.
because
That's huge.
they don't.
right?
Yeah.
That debt right there, they don't forgive, right? 18%, and you're gonna carry that the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
There's some people who are retired who are probably still paying their student
Takes
loan.
like 30 years, right?
That's crazy.
It's like having
student.
a house mortgage.
It's terrible. Well, anyway. So here are some questions that I have.
Okay.
You guys are bosses? Both of you are bosses?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I was listening to a radio show and they were talking about different excuses that people have given their bosses for why they were late, why they couldn't come in, why they had to go home early. Like, this is just a thing that people do, whatever business you're in, you hear excuses. Dad, you were telling me that you've heard some funny excuses too.
One of the, Al knows about this guy. He says, hey, I would give a guys a break, a decent break on their birthdays. So this guy comes up, he goes, hey, coach, it's my birthday today. I go, okay, no problem. This is going to be your break for the day. It was the better break, right?
Right.
About 2 months later, he comes back up to me and he goes, hey, coach, it's my birthday. I go, wait a minute. I'm old, but I can still remember.
Right.
And I said, it was your birthday 2 months ago. He goes, no, it's my birthday from being sober. He had a pin or something.
I got
And I
you,
says, that don't count. Congratulations.
Right.
You know, I'm proud of you.
He's about to come to you every month for his
Yeah,
birthday.
he'll be coming every month on that. I said, I'm proud of you for, being clean that length, but no, just on your birthday.
Your actual birth.
Your
when you
actual
were delivered.
birthday, yes.
Yeah, so this
How
is
about you
kind,
guys?
this is kind of one of those topics. So as a foreman, you kind of have to gauge it based on like your experience and then your experience with those people or that specific person, right? Because there's people out there that have a reputation already for coming up with excuses, right? And you know who those people are. And then sometimes you'll get somebody that you think is genuine or you're not familiar with, and you got to gauge that, right?
Right.
You got to gauge if you're going to end up being a sucker or hold your position and say, hey, look, I got to treat you like everybody else. So you're going to have to call a replacement or whatever is going on, as far as what you have going on. But, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt until I have doubt. Right. So that's kind of how it is. But yeah, like Coach, I've had people use like their mother dying as an excuse, and then somebody will come and say, well, they used that yesterday on the foreman that was here yesterday.
Oh, that's bad juju.
It
to
is
say
bad
that about
juju,
your
right?
Mom. Oh, heck
Exactly.
no.
So, that's an easy fix. Just call dispatch. Hey, I'm reaping this guy out. He's full of shit.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's done the same to me too. It's
Right.
Everyone throws their family under the bus or how they're feeling, like things that are going on in their day or something that's happened, but nothing really crazy like my dog ate my homework type of like that's why I'm late. You know how you've heard that before. No, I don't really have anything like that. Just continuous. Oh, I'm sick, or someone in my house is sick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
It's always
normal
that,
excuses.
But are they being genuine or not? And that's like Drew said, you gauge them like, wait, not again.
Yeah.
You know.
One more. This one guy wanted the certain break, right? And I go, again? He goes, yeah. He goes, I got to go home and turn the ribs. And I go, are you serious? I got to go home and turn the ribs?
Yeah, it's,
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Hey, he came up with that. And then another guy says, I got to go move the refrigerator. I go, no. You go. No.
Yeah.
Do that on your own.
do that on your own.
Right
Yeah.
on. You know.
Yeah.
You know
Did
about
you ask
that.
for some ribs back? Did
No.
you say,
Bring me a
like,
plate.
Okay, bring me a plate. I'll
Bring me
take a plate.
Al knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's classic.
That's funny.
Got some characters.
Yes,
we all know that.
Yes, we
For
do.
sure. And I
Yeah.
think everywhere, like whether you work on a construction site or an office building, that's just something, characters.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. You know who your A players are, who your B players are, people you can count on, people you can't, and just some people are just better at certain things, especially with machinery down here. You know who you can count on if you're in a pinch.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
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 You want to put your key people on key
Positions, yeah.
Like I'll name him, Ian. He's driving over there for you. He's been down there for years and years. There's ever any problem, we call Ian to go over there and fix the problem.
Yeah, certain
Okay.
cans that are overlapped or falling over or whatnot. Yeah, you depend on guys like that. He's been driving top steady for as long as we've been in, so
Right.
I would say at least 25 years. So yeah.
Did you guys drive top, or what have you done on the waterfront? What have been your jobs, and what have you really enjoyed? Like, oh, if I could go back and do that job, I really like that job, or that terminal.
So I did a little bit of everything. Like so you gotta remember when I started young, that was like in '89, the casual hall. We had top handlers that were coming to the casual hall too. And so at the time they were crane rated, and they would get an extra hour. You get paid 9 hours,
Right.
right?
So they trained you as a cat. They trained
No,
some. Okay.
no training.
No training.
This is
Get in
no
and
training.
go.
So what you would do is they would just say, if you know how to drive a top handler, come on up to the window, right? And there would be like 2 or 3 guys, a handful of guys that would bypass everybody else because nobody could drive, and you get pretty much an extra shift. So anyways, Dwayne Martinez, our vice president, who was steady at Matt's in 1989, 1990, a top handler driver. I met him through my father, and then he took me up there like once or twice on my own time, and then I went back to the casual and then started taking them.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so you drove top.
Drove tops, and then I lashed. I worked in the hole as a hole man for a lot of years, and then my ID time was so on the waterfront. It's all about timing, right? So, your timing when you get in the casual hall, your timing is an ID, and then during that time, they hadn't registered for a few years, so the ID time, like I only did 18 months as an ID, and then they were processing us forward so that they could backfill, and people were coming behind us, filling it in, right? So I did everything. When I went to the hall, it was to get a job no matter what. Right. Like there was some guys that I knew would go there and they're like, they don't like what I have today, or that's my terminal's not going to be, they didn't order what I want. That wasn't me. I would jump in anything.
You just like, I'll take it, whatever.
Yeah, I've always been like that.
He was brought up like his dad. His dad, Stretch.
Yeah.
Good longshoreman.
Worked
good
with
clerk.
him too.
Yeah.
Was a clerk for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you made a mistake down there, your dad would hear about it when you got home.
So that's a whole nother subject, but some of that is lost now, right? Especially now with the sign of the times, you got to be careful what you say, what you do, especially with certain people. And I get it, because times have changed where, especially in the workplace, that's not
Appropriate.
the protocol and appropriate anymore. And we even get trained for that, right? So, but true story is I remember I had a block man at 145 or 176 Pasha, and I remember I showed up late after lunch, for 10 minutes. I was 10 minutes late, right? And then I didn't think anything of it. I just went to work. But somehow, my dad knows everybody, right? Obviously.
Everybody.
So it's like about 20 minutes have passed, and then down the High Line, I see this truck racing down with dirt flying up in the air. Right? It was like a
Oh no.
it was like a bad 60s movie of you know what I'm saying? Anyways,
Because we could
Well-
drive down the High Line.
oh,
at
you could
that
drive
time,
on the
right?
terminals back then. Your own
Right.
drives right up to me. There's the Lyft driver's right there, jumps out of his truck, chews me out. Don't keep your workplace dirty, and you were late, and don't you ever be late. There was people around me that just walked away and just.
Yeah.
I took it right to this day. If I'm going to the job, you'll never catch me be late because I get anxiety over that. Right? I could hear him. If I'm oh my God, I gotta be there 15 minutes. I'm 12 minutes away. I can hear his voice chewing me out in my head. So, but that's what you could do with family or even close friends when they're kids, right? Nowadays, that. I think that some of that's lost.
Yeah.
Some of that's lost. A good ass chewing once in a while is necessary. So.
So I've only been in ID for 3 years. So I'm kind of figuring out rules and what's going on. And I would stay pretty low because I would stay pretty low, right? My hours were low, so I would not work all the time. I didn't know all the rules. I can't really remember what happened. So I chiseled, but I didn't really realize that I chiseled. I didn't know that I chiseled. Someone approached me in the hall, and if you come at me, I'm going to match your energy. So the way you come at me is the way that I'm going to respond to you. So I wasn't as nice. So then I went to my job. That person let me go, and I went to my job. And then my dad calls me. Is like, "Hey, so and so just called me. What happened? What happened at the hall?" And then I explained to him. He's like, "Oh, okay, just listening." And he told me, "Yeah, that what you did chisel. That was chiseling." And I was like, "Oh, well, I didn't realize that I chiseled, but that still happens."
Was your time book incorrect though, or you just didn't read it right?
I don't really remember because it was a couple of years. It was 2 years. It was when I first got in, so I was still not really knowing the rules. I rolled over. And the day that, so when you roll over, you're automatically checked in,
Yep,
right?
correct, yeah.
But that day I had a doctor's appointment, so I had my doctor's note. So I felt like, well, I really didn't anticipate being here this day. So then when I rechecked in, I checked in on the hours before because I thought the note would suffice for that rollover day, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did chisel, but I didn't realize that I chiseled. All that to say, it still happens when someone calls your dad and tells on me, because that is exactly what happened
Yeah,
to me.
that's-
I got told on.
That's kind of the beauty of like the legacy down here, right? When you have family around here, so like, every once in a while as a foreman, you'll have people like that. They'll come up to you and be like, "Oh, my family is so and so," or they're already before they even do anything, right? So I grew up the opposite. Like, you go down there, you make your own name.
Right.
Correct.
You're gonna have family and friends, but they're not gonna give you a break like that. It's not how it's gonna. If anything, it's gonna be the opposite. They're gonna expect you to work harder, or be the best worker, or be there on time. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like, that's at least how I was raised, and I think that was the older generation. And then for me, that my dad was like meticulous with his time books too. I'm gonna tell you guys a great time book story right now. So he had his time books, and he had really neat handwriting, print, and he had his time books going back to like the late 50s. So he got registered in 59. So he had time books from 1959 all the way till he retired, like in 2010, right? And they were in a cubby in the corner in the garage between 2x4s, and then he took up like two spaces there, and we drywalled over the years. He wouldn't let us touch them, wouldn't let us touch his time books. That was his space. And then so years go by, and then he ends up getting cancer, mesothelioma, and then we ended up getting an attorney. And then what happened is it was a couple of months before he passed, and then the attorney says, "Is there any way that you could prove that you worked those vessels with asbestos?" And he tells me, "Son, go get my time books and give them to him. I don't need them no more." Everything was documented in
Wow.
there. Everything, all the information, the vessels, the
Undisputable.
shift, right? Going back years,
Wow.
all neat.
Wow.
It ended up helping my mom out, with financially a little bit later on. So that's I always tell people now, like, I have the app time book and I keep the written time book both on file. And I'm just like my father. I have a file, but it's in a file cabinet, right? I have a file cabinet in the garage where it's all nice and neat. But true story. Like, I always thought that those things were just collecting dust and taking up space. And that, right? I'm like, what are you saving those for? They're just, get rid of them.
Right.
Wow.
Don't touch them.
Yeah.
And then the day, it was like it was meant to be. The day came and he says, go get those time books and give them to that man.
It's time.
Yeah,
It's time. Bring them.
That's like he knew that that's what they were going to be there for.
Yeah. Wow. I guess that was a big deal, because we just had Diane Middleton on, and she represented people who were on ships with asbestos. Like, I think that was a big deal,
Right,
right?
it
I
was.
didn't.
Paint,
Oh, the paint, like
a lot
lead,
of
like
different,
lead.
yeah, a
Ooh.
lot of different stuff.
Al can touch on that subject. Al, tell us about how Gearman.
How you have lead poisoning.
Right.
He's got all kinds of stories. He's a typical guy that can be the ideal being a foreman.
Okay.
Because, I think, to me, being a good gearman is to be a good foreman. That's my first impression, because you guys line up. Well, I don't
Well,
want to.
Drew was a gearman too. I mean,
So they're both
back in the
gearmen.
day, that was the foundation. Like, a lot of good foremen, were gearmen. Not saying that that's the only good foreman. Everyone makes a good foreman eventually, somehow, some way you learn the job. But I just felt like when I got down here, I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I always thought like the gearman was the 911 of the terminal, right? That's who you call for everything. And being that from the fire department background, I was like, I really want to do that job. And I had my license from the fire department, so I was able to drive all the fuel trucks. And I had met the Bonilla brothers. They were steady for MTC, Marine Terminals, which Coach and I both worked for.
Right.
And my career just took off of there. I did that for like 7 years steady, and what an experience that was. And God, we handled so many different types of situations, cans falling over.
Tell us a few things, Al.
Anytime in the yard, like when cans would fall over, we're out there. If you got a special lift, going on or off the ship, break bulk, you're out there handling it with the gear or whatnot. I was just telling Coach a story a couple of days ago. We had got called out. We were at Long Beach 90 at the old high engine, and we got called out to call some cans full over. Unbeknownst to us, when we got there, the truck was underneath the trans. We couldn't even see the driver. The can had fallen from 4 high, it toppled, and it crushed him.
What?
It crushed him.
Crush the top handler?
The cab of the outside trucker
Oh, the
was crushed beyond the door. Like we couldn't see him. The can was all we could hear was him moaning and a voice. We were like, so the fire department's on their way. So my best friend Johnny DeLeva and Nat, who we were all partners at Long Beach 90, we came up with this idea. We went around to the backside of the trans. We put all the chains on us, climbed up the backside of the trans, went up on the 6th position. The operator, we had a different guy up there because that guy was distraught. We put a different guy up there. We hooked up all the chains, walked over to the can that was on top of the truck, hooked it up, and took it off of him. So the fire department came with the jaws of life, and they extricated him. He ended up passing because of his injuries later on. But it was just situations like that. We had no idea what we were getting into. They said some cans fell over. Well, when we got there, because we always brought the gear with us, the chains and all the stuff, because we knew we were going to have something to do to lift, right? We were just like, oh my God, like your adrenaline kicks in, and we just went, like, we put the chains on us, climbed up, and hooked everything up and took that off. And it became a big ordeal for us, and the boss, who was Bland at the time, was running Long Beach 90, and the City Council of Long Beach Fire Department and the dignitaries, they acknowledged us. We had a big old luncheon for us. We didn't save his life, but we were instrumental in getting him out of that truck. So it was situations like that.
Right. The Gearman's your right-hand man. Like when this one can fell over that Katie's thing, I went in there. She goes, hey, go check it out. So I went over there, see what you can do. I went over, damn cans are all over the place and everything. So I called Linares, Norris, Mike. I said, hey, come on over here. Let's look at this. And we got him out, and the Katie never came out.
Yeah, good gearmen are necessary, especially because they're the ones that know the gear, right? You need like 12-foot legs, you got 6-foot legs, just different kind of shackles. So they're the ones that can help you put the needs of the job together, right? Especially when you got like, the cans that have fallen over in the yard, or even sometimes in the hull of the ship. You got to use chains. So, just that's one of the beauty. That's the beauty of the industry. Just there's mechanics, there's gearmen. You got those specialty sweeper jobs that, kind of like they do their thing, but at the same time they're still valuable as anybody else.
Right. Now Al got his certs when he was in the fire department. Did you have to go to school to get your certs, or?
So you got to get through the DMV. You got to get a Class A driver license with the certs for hazardous material, for hauling hazardous material, right? So every terminal is different. I think with Ports America, they had to drive their diesel truck off terminal. When I was the gearman at NYK, we did not. So I didn't have to have the certs to drive off the terminal, but I had to have the certs just to drive the diesel vehicle. The fuel
like a tank, a hazmat endorsement, air brakes and whatnot. But to go over road, you got to have your Class A.
Right.
So how many gear? Because I drive UTR mostly right now because I'm at ID. I only see the gearmen setting up the cone boxes and doing that kind of stuff. Is there a gearman for the ship and then one for the yard, or is the one for the ship does everything? Like how are there multiple gearmen hired at a terminal? Tell me about that. I don't know.
So usually there's more than one. Usually it'd be more than one, and then that gearman, he'll handle everything. The yard, the vessel, they do the fueling for the transits, the fueling for the UTRs, most of the painting for the lines or the numbers in the yard too. So the striping against the vessel, the high line too. So most of the gearmen do that. Sometimes they'll outsource some of those, but usually they turn those guys too, where they wear multiple hats for sure.
Did you like that job? It seems like you're a problem solver. Yeah, Al,
No, it was a great job. It was a great experience, and you're working with your friends. Like I was working with my best friend, a very good friend, and then we had a call guy. Where I came from at Long Beach 90, we were like 3 days and 3 nights, and we moved to 140. We were 5 days and 5 nights. Like it was 4 steadies plus utilizing the hall, and we were doing like maybe 2,000 gallons of gas a day and like 14,000 of diesel every day. Like it's a lot. Like those numbers, people don't have no idea. But there's gensets, there's the mechanics vehicles, all the little pickups. Like there's so much that needs to be fueled. The transits, like it just, you don't realize that, but this stuff all needs fuel to run. So
Oh, so you're not just in the forklift. I'm just thinking you're in the
No,
forklift.
you're not just
Okay,
in-
No, their starting times are different, right, Al?
yeah. Well, it was a 12-hour shift, so we were 5 to 5.
And
It's a long
And
day.
if they ran the hoot shift, then you got to be there sometimes earlier to split it with the night shift
Yes.
too, right? So you're there like at probably like 4:30, 4 o'clock in the 4:30 in the morning to start. Especially if they run a hoot shift there, then you got to make sure like there's a gearman on the premises. If a UTR runs out of gas or a top handler runs out of gas, right? And then in between shifts, if you're running continuous, then you got to try to park your fuel truck somewhere where as the UTR drivers pass by, then you're trying to line them up and fuel them kind of like as a little drive-through station to keep them running, right? Because they've probably been running all day, all night. So that's what the gearman does. He makes sure that everything's filled with gas.
Is it like that at every terminal, or do some have the mechanics do the fueling? Or is it the gearman all the time do the fueling?
Yeah, I think it's the gearman.
It's
all
a
the time.
gearman.
Gearman
What
and
you're
not
what
the
you're
mechanics,
seeing
okay.
is that new depth that because of the emissions, depending on the jurisdiction, some yards the IAM mechanics might have it. There's a different jurisdiction with the ILW, so they get to do some of it. But for the most part, it's all done by us. Yeah.
So all that, and then go like if there's like something that happened on the terminal, you got to go respond.
Right. Well, and beyond that, before your time and your dad knows, when Ring Terminals was at all 3 terminals, like Ming, Evergreen, and Hanjin, they shared equipment. If there was another ship that went out and they ran out, they would do a work order and they would say, we need 20 UTRs, 20 bomb carts from Ming to Evergreen.
So he's hauling a flatbed, like
Yes.
with 3 or 4 UTRs on it, take them from one terminal to another because they need them somewhere else.
Correct.
Right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Telling you, the gearmen, they're important.
And then we would
guys.
go to Wainimi and San Diego if they had a specialty ship. Hey, we need an extra this, an extra that, or whatnot. Like, so now you're on 3-hour drive bringing equipment to different ports.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it gets complicated.
I heard that there aren't any women gearmen. Is that true? Do you guys know?
No, there have been plenty
There
of them.
are?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. There's one that she works out of the hall, Yang Ming, and I don't know her name, but she works. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we had a couple pick it up. Yeah, there's gear no tags. Maybe they might not have all the credentials, but they can help out, move boxes or paint or some of the stuff. Yeah, they could do it.
Is that something that you get credentialed on the side? Or
Everything's on your own. Yeah.
Everything's on your own.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why that's not like something that is offered through the union. Is that weird to ask? Like a top,
No.
you're trained to drive top. Why wouldn't they have some kind of training for that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I
Well,
don't
years
know.
ago, they had a bunch of signups because we were supposed to have jurisdiction for this Class A. We were supposed to get all the dray within the harbor, right? So they had this program where they paid for you to get your Class A, and the PMA paid, but that never took off. So it was like a pilot program that never, they just did a handful of people. But like you're saying, usually you're just sitting in the backgrounds. All of a sudden, someone retires. Hey, you want to be a gearman over here? And you got to hurry up, like to go through channels and all. You know how it is. Well, yeah, 5 years later, I'm trying to get my certs. No, you need them today.
Okay,
Yeah, those jobs. So how I fell into the gearman position is that Red was the steady gearman at NYK on the night side, right? And then they needed help, but I wasn't ready. He calls me up and says, "Hey, you know what? Just if you're ready, let me know to be a gearman. We're looking possibly hiring another steady gearman." And I was like, that was on the night winch board, and I said, "You know what? I'm good right now. I'm good." And then 6 months later, he calls me back up again, and he says, "Hey, just try it. Just try it." And I was kind of like, I was already ready to make a move transition. I think I was up for like clerking already. I was already going through crane training, and then I had bossing coming up too at the same time. My options were open, right? And I'm an option guy. I love creating options for our members or myself, right? Make sure
right.
you have a choice to make, right? That's the beauty of our industry, right? So I tried it, and then within a year, I lasted only a year as a gearman, and then I made foreman, and the rest is history.
Right.
That's
What's been your favorite job that you've done? I know you mentioned like you were in the hold. What's been your like?
so this is kind of one of those arbitrary like decisions because it's about the people, right?
Totally.
The
yes,
job is
yes.
about the people, right? I could say I love like the way I operate a heavy lift, or I love like driving winch or whatever, but it's about the people. For me, it was lashing for all those years because we had the same group of guys. You know, we were like at each other's birthday parties. We were on the same jobs all
Yeah.
the time. You know, we would go barbecue, go to the Dodger games. We kind of grew up during that time together, right? And that bond was good. And to this day, they're still like my closest brothers,
Right.
closest friends, right? So it's always about the people. You know, I even tell that to our guys now when we, register a new foreman and they go through their probationary time and they get recruited to go steady somewhere, and they'll ask me, what do you think about this terminal? What do you think about this terminal? I always tell them the same thing. I say, just go where you get along with the people. Go where you get along with the other foremen. Because it doesn't make the days seem so long. If
Yeah.
you go in there and you can have like a decent discussion and help each other out and maybe have a few laughs, then, the years go by so fast, right? And you have an enjoyable time. That's it.
I think a lot of people have like enjoyed their lashing jobs for that reason,
Yeah,
like the
it's the
camaraderie.
bond for sure.
How about you, Aldi? Was there like people that you liked working with?
Yeah, it's the same thing. When I was gear, it wasn't because of the gear job. It was because I was working with my best friend and my good friend. So it was a boys club all day long for us because when we had downtime, we were doing our own stuff. One of us was good at this, one of us was good at that, and whatnot. So we brought all our toys and home stuff, and and we all worked together. It was great. Someone made the lunch run, we hung out, and it was all day.
It was a hang.
Yeah, we were just hanging out all day long.
Did you grow up with those guys?
I did not. That's crazy. We met down here, and we the relationship built from
We're going to
there.
have his best friend on the program, too, Johnny DeLeva.
Love me some Johnny DeLeva. He's so good.
Yeah,
What a
he's one of a
personality.
kind.
Oh my gosh.
I was telling Marina, if I was at war and I had to choose one guy to be in the foxhole with me,
There
that
it
would
is.
be the guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would agree.
You can't outwork
Oh,
that
for
guy.
sure.
You cannot outwork
You can't outwork
He'll
him.
get you out of any predicament.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he will.
good.
And he'll have a good attitude about
Oh,
it.
for
He'll
sure.
make you laugh. He'll
Have
love
some
that
laughs
guy.
too.
Yeah.
Lots of
He's good.
laughs.
We're looking
Yeah.
forward to having Johnny come on.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
fun.
pretty cool. Did you grow? Where did you guys grow up? Long Beach, Wilmington, San Pedro.
So I grew up in Wilmington on Eubank right there. The back of my mom's house is the Wilmington Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I ended up, went to elementary school here, and then obviously St. Peter and Paul, and then I ended up going to Long Beach for high school, St. Anthony High School.
Are you in that little pocket that's between the cemetery and PCH? Those houses, or
No,
more the neighborhood?
that's Hyatt. So it's Hyatt, that little cul-de-sac right there,
Yeah.
like where the cemetery entrance is.
Yeah.
And then it's Eubank, where the storage unit is on the
Uh-huh.
corner right there. If you go down Eubank, I'm in that neighborhood right back there.
Did you see that center that they made? Right, it used to just be an abandoned walkway, kind of right behind the
Yeah.
storage. I was like, they fit all that back there. It looks like a really nice big. I don't know what it is, like a homeless.
It's a homeless shelter.
Oh boy.
It's a homeless shelter. So
But it's not shanty towns. Do you remember when there was a bunch of
Yeah, so there's pros and cons of that, right?
Okay.
So whenever you put like a homeless shelter in the community, like it congregates all the homeless together for a period of time until they're able to let go, and then they walk through the neighborhoods. My mom's hilarious, right? She lives in that neighborhood, and she complains all the time because she'll call me up and be like, "Really? Who do you know to talk to? Because all these homeless guys, they got like 3 bikes. Who needs 3 bikes but they're homeless? Right? What do they do with all these bicycles? He's riding a bike, he's carrying a bike, he has a bike on the back of the bike. Like, where do all these bikes come from? Where they getting them from?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? There's always there's pros and cons, so the there's got to be a solution for the homeless problem, right? And it starts with that, finding places to put the homeless, but at the same time, like, there's got to be other resources for those people that are in the community, right? And mental illness and whatever else, drug situations are going on too. So there's
a lot going on.
There's a lot with that. So
Yeah.
the people that live around those homeless shelters. So we had our old dispatch hall was in San Pedro, right there on Harbor, and behind the dispatch hall, they ended up building a homeless shelter there too. And then that's one of the reasons we realized it was ready to move our office, because we had an issue with homeless on the streets where we had a gated parking lot, but getting out of the gate was something else, because I had a lady like lay in front of my car to obstruct me from like driving. A guy tried to key my car, had like a flip flop thrown at me. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyways, but
That'll be interesting to talk to Tim McCusker. So we're
Yeah.
hoping to have the councilman on
Oh, that'd be
because
great,
that's huge. I
Yeah.
mean, in Wilmington, I feel like they're building, like, hey, we're building all these centers, but yeah, what else is going? I don't know. I'm curious about that.
Right.
Yeah. Did you grow up in? How about Al? Did you grow up in San Pedro?
Yeah, I grew up in San Pedro.
I don't know why you give me Pedro vibes.
Right, Pedro
Yeah.
vibes. Okay. You're right. Yeah, I went to Mary Star, and then I took a tour of duty after that. I went to Maryland for a couple of years and graduated San Pedro High. So, yeah, from Pedro. And
Oh,
you know what's
wow.
weird is like Drew and I are close in numbers, but I didn't meet him until I made foreman because he was nights, I was days. So
Oh, yeah.
it's so crazy down here how like even to this day, like there's days or years you don't see someone, right? Days or years, like you don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, oh my God, where you been? It'll be like 10 years later. Oh, I've been over here. I've been over there. It's like, you just don't get out sometimes, certain other, it's hard to be everywhere. So but
Especially that day side and night side. That's
Dayside and
totally
nightside, yeah.
different.
big time.
Oh, we have Al now. Al, let's go on the political side now. Obviously you're steady at Yang Ming and stuff like that, but what do you do be with the union?
Well, 5 years into being a foreman, I got asked to, I guess some of the guys who were trustees were a little worn out, tired, and it's time for us younger guys to take over. And I was grateful that they asked me, hey, would you be interested? And I had never been into politics in 13, and I gave it a run, and I made it, and I'm on my 15th year being a trustee, and it's been great. All the fiduciary stuff. I go to the conventions for, like, just on bookkeeping, and we handle all the donations for all the political stuff, and we just really keep an eye on everything. There's 3 of us, and along with Secretary Treasurer, we're responsible for the unions, all their financials. And we meet at the end of the month, one day before E-Board, which is usually a Tuesday, and we're there for like 3 or 4 hours, and we just go over everything, all our financials, things that we need, don't need, and what's coming up, conventions, and if we have to take an assessment for stuff that we, equipment, or if the officers have to go to a caucus, and it's been great, and it's kind of like a foundation if you ever want to move forward into any other position in there.
Right.
It's pretty good.
Talk about other positions. How about this guy right
Well,
here?
this guy, he's
got his different hats all over.
Yeah,
the
he's a
place.
jack of all trades for
Jack
local
of all
nine.
trades
Yeah.
right here. Drew,
well, it kind of. I'm sorry.
No, I was
done?
gonna say you
No.
got
So
you got a lot. You'll take.
This guy he does a lot, first of all, for the ILW, specifically Local 94, right? Obviously, he's the trustee. He's been there a while, but he helps dispatch too. At our meetings, he helps set up, sells our merch, which is big.
Yeah,
There's a lot. There's a lot. So
how about donations when we had the pandemic and stuff? Didn't you collect money? And
You know what, Coach? Guys like you, Drew, and the rest, Local 94 was so instrumental. Like, our guys stepped up so big for that.
oh, that was
We
huge.
spent probably $70,000 that Local 94 gave during the COVID, and I went around along with some other members who had time and were off, and a lot of guys helped me out, to probably 20 different hospitals in this area in LA County. I mean, the west side, I was at the big hospital at UCLA, and we brought those people food. They were exhausted, from what was going on. But Local 94, that was a proud moment. Our guys really stepped up. Like, it was huge.
Talk about like how you guys ended up putting a spin on that, because during COVID, some of the mom and pop restaurants were kind of like slowing down and a threat of going out of business. How you guys end up focusing on them to feed the fire department and the hospitals.
It was two-sided because there was no work, right, for them. People were, and like I said, we brought $70,000 to them, the local eateries around here, and in turn, we brought it to the hospitals and first responders, fire stations, and it was like 100% Local 94 came. Like, we stepped up. Our membership was awesome.
Thank you. I know you were instrumental behind all that.
Yeah.
I know you
Well,
were.
Coach, it was, all of us. It was all of us. Like,
Yeah, all of us. But
I was
you
getting, guys would just see me, hey, out, here's 100, here's
Yeah.
100, here's 100. It was awesome.
You took
That
the bull
was
by
good.
the horns
Yeah,
and ran.
it was, I'm telling you, it was close to $70,000 that we went out and gave to the community. And it was all out of everyone's pocket in
Right.
Local
Wow.
94. It was huge.
Yeah, that was
good
beautiful.
times.
Yeah, so me as Local 94, I've evolved. I'm about just putting my best foot forward and then just bringing the best what I can do, and hopefully it spreads and makes everybody else better, right? So, like, as my involvement has enhanced, obviously I'm the elected labor relations rep for Local 94. I'm on the executive board, and I'm on the political action committee, and I'm a dispatcher, and I've in various panels and other committees, and I just try to stay active with representing Local 94, especially with our fight with technology and automation going forward with the future, right? Because we're historically, since 1934, we're good at picketing. We're good at standing for our jurisdiction. We're good at fighting for our rights, specifically on the terminals and on the jobs with the employer, right? We're good at working by the contract, because that's what binds us. That's what keeps us grounded and makes us successful in our jobs, specifically like with safety and everything else that comes with that. But going forward, the fight has shifted, and it's more in legislation. It's more legislation. It's more in the political spectrum with the Senate, the Assembly members, and the City Council members, to make sure that they understand that with the times coming, whatever laws come into place or bills come into place, that money's behind them, that the companies can access their hands on, it's not used to replace us. So we have to make sure that we're seen and we're heard with the ILW name and voice, and that's why now it's important that whoever we endorse understands that. We have politicians that come to our political action committee for endorsements. That's the importance and the value for us, is when we make that known that if you're going to endorse us, then we expect you to look after our best interests. If there's any bills coming down the pipeline or any risk of us having our jurisdiction lost or our jobs lost, then we want you to let us know, and not only that, is to fight for us if we're going to back you up. And usually we've created some good bonds like that over the years, but it's a newer battle, and I think a lot of the membership doesn't see that yet, but that's where we're at right now. And going forward to the future, I was at a political event last night till 9:00 in Burbank with Assembly Member Schultz, who represents District 44, specifically to show our face there and make sure that I had some one-on-one conversations with them. And we had conversations before, but when we come around, because with the politicians now, everybody's in that political spectrum. You have the building trades, you have the Teamsters, you have everybody else. So I'm not gonna say we're late to that game, but sometimes we're not as strong of a presence as we should be. And that is why I try to go to anything and everything, at least once or twice a week. I'm at, some political events with the politicians to make sure that, we're seen. Because when we're not there, and there's other labor organizations that are there, those are the ones that get the attention, right? So we got to make sure that nobody's encroaching on our jurisdiction going forward, and at the same time that, because we want clean air. We grew up in Wilmington, San Pedro.
Right.
Like 73% of our membership works within a 10-mile radius of the port. 84% of the ILW lives in the LA County. So we are the people that live here. We're the people that, we go to all the schools, we go to all the restaurants. We're the ones that coach at all the Little League, coach at Banning High School. So us losing our jobs would decimate the surrounding communities drastically. So there's been reports going back and forth in the last couple of years, and I was privy enough to be appointed by the governor and then the Secretary of Labor of the state of California to be on a report, which was exactly that. It was a report on the effects of automation in the San Pedro Bay Port complex. And what was found is that the companies, they like the thought of automation, and along with that comes the thought of productivity, which is false, right? There's been studies done in New Zealand, the Port of Auckland, where they've implemented automation and then have retracted that and going back to using labor because the loss of production put them back like 17 years. So, there's been studies that have proven that, but the employers at this time they'd rather sacrifice the costs of labor now, and with also the loss of production. They rather cut labor costs now and suffer the consequences of production for the long-term gains. So we have to understand that. We want to be part of the solution, but when we use the words automation on the waterfront, it usually means robotics that we're about to be replaced. So we just have to be aware of that. Like, language is important. That's why we have to stay on these assembly members and the senators for every little word is deciphered so that we can make sure we are in the equation, right? If there's not a longshoreman in that loop, then we need to find a bigger loop, right? We need to make sure that we're involved in that equation where we're operating those machines. We're the ones that are operating the top lines. We're the ones that are operating the hammerheads.
Working on them, fixing them.
Exactly, all that.
You must be part lawyer because Diane Middleton, we had earlier on the broadcast, and she was touching all the important stuff you just hit right now. So
Yeah, it's important.
You're right on as far as
That's where our fight is now. Our fight is for our future. I have a few years left, but I think, going down the road that, we have to our membership has to understand that, that, that our political action committee is the most powerful tool that we can use going forward, because it's about name recognition. When you have senators and assemblymen and council members that are running for office, the ILWU endorsement is powerful.
Correct.
It's a powerful name to say that, the ILW with labor is endorsing us. But along with that, we have to make sure that they don't take that for granted, and there's a responsibility to represent labor, to represent the people in the community of Wilmington, Long Beach, and San Pedro. Because it's like I said, there's a high percentage of us that live in these communities, 73% within 10 miles. We need those jobs to survive here. We need those jobs for the community to survive.
Correct.
So that's where
The
our fight
community
is.
needs it.
100%.
Like, we had Angel Montes on. He said about 60 to 70% of his business at Los Tres Cochinitos is longshores coming to eat lunch. If longshoremen don't have a job, they're not going to be going out to eat lunch. Goodbye, Los Tres. All these businesses that we frequent, like, they won't. The whole community will be decimated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And also because when we vote and when we show our voice, then we're strong. But if we're not doing those things, if we're not voting, if we're not showing up and being strong, then we don't have much behind it. Is that?
Yes and no. So
that correct? Okay.
So usually when the ILW does an endorsement, it doesn't usually mean that the rest of the membership is going to endorse that person, right? Because there's political different views in all walks of life. Even within us, we're the ILWU, we're a Democratic union, but that doesn't mean that a lot of our members are going to vote Democratic, right? So all we can do is just put out the best information that we can and make sure that, our voice is heard and that our members hopefully recognize and see like where we've been to where we've come in our fight for our jobs, for our fight for safety. Our fight for our wages, our fight for our benefits, our fight for our pension, all that.
Right.
All that could be at risk and lost if we get the wrong people in office, which, we arguably that's kind of the case right now. But, so our eyes have to be open all the time. Our eyes have to be open all the time and sometimes the answer is right in front of us. Like we see it. Let me give you a perfect example. It's like, for years with the 401k, it goes up and down, but we're the bullseye for the economy as far as, imports and exports, right? And that's pretty much what our 401k is based on, right? So when those ships come in and they're 10 high, 11 high, and that means the economy is doing good. That's when the stock market's high. That's when everybody's buying furniture, everybody's buying tennis shoes, right? And then when you see the ships coming in, they're like, hey, wait a minute, that bay's only like 3 high.
Or empty.
Or empty.
Right.
That's within 2 months, the stock market starts going down. Like it's right in front of us. You can see it with your own eyes happening by the moment,
Right.
Correct.
right? So I would do that over years, just move my money around based on, container volume. I would see. I'd be a lasher on the ship, and then we'd be up there and be like, wait a minute, this ship came in full tilt. Now it's the second time that it's like half empty. I'd move my money around, accordingly. So sometimes that solution is right in front of us, but I think nowadays, specifically like with some of the terminals, LBCT and Trade Pack, we kind of overlook that too, right? We overlook like how many jobs are lost and take that a little bit for granted. But you got to think about it. If all the terminals in the Port of LA and Long Beach were to go automated, like we'd be left with
It would decimate
nothing.
it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to fight to make sure we put the ILW in those machines from top to bottom. There's some things that are going to be hard to replace with robotics or automation, but we have to fight till the end because if not, then it'll be done sooner than later, right? So, and I don't want that for my kids or my grandkids. I want them to be able to enjoy, hopefully, the job that I have going on for generations.
And thanks for going out. Like you mentioned, you went to that to go visit the political
Assembly member, yes.
Yeah, assembly member. Thank you, because it sounds like you're doing your due diligence on behalf of us, and you're figuring out who's who and what's what and who's got our back, so that when those flyers come in my mail that say we endorse this person, I know that there is someone behind that did their due diligence and said like, hey, this we endorse, this is the guy.
Yes.
Like I've been to the meetings, I've been to the parties, I've done it. This is the guy. So thank you for being.
And that's why I do it. I feel like I see what needs to be done. I see the future. I see the fight. I see the battle. And we need more people out there like that are just, have a passion and then fight for what we have now to keep what we have, but to make sure that it lasts going forward. Because I'm telling you right now, the companies out there, if they could get rid of us, they would get rid of us yesterday. They would in a heartbeat. So our fight is not only on the job, working by our contract, working safe, but then going forward with making sure that we're present in the assembly, we're present in the Senate, we're present in city councils, because when we're there, they know that we're there, and then they have to pay attention to us. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
You know what's crazy with the political? Like I've been in the room when they give these guys questions. It's like robots don't vote, right? So they would be out of a job too eventually, right?
Yeah, we say that all the time. We say robots don't pay taxes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
So it's not just us. This would hit everybody.
Right.
Like you said, restaurants, the car dealers, the furniture store, shoe store. It's no one's immune.
Well, I liked what Diane was saying that earlier. She said she had an article from Dave Arian that said, like, bring us along or something like that. Like, we're not opposed to change, but bring us along.
100%.
Bring us along.
Well, it's kind of like I said, we want clean air. This is where we raise our families. This is where I grew up. But at the same time, like, we want to make sure that there's other solutions out there besides just getting rid of labor. That's not what we're about, right? We want our jobs to last. So, there's solutions out there that are still like viable solutions. You have hydrogen, you have, electric. It's going to be like probably a combination. It's going to take for us to, put power into these ports besides the diesel emissions, but we'll get there. We'll get there and then make sure that, we're the ones that are operating those machines.
Right. Then we got to be trained for for those
Yeah,
positions, right?
you know,
Like longshoring just will look a little. They'll still be longshoremen. Hopefully, it'll just look a little different.
well, yeah, we already got a couple of companies like YTI has top handlers that are electric now. I mean, it's going to be the same, but the controls will be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be an evolution. He likes that I use this because I always tell him we have to evolve and we have to do this.
Yeah,
But
evolve.
Right.
there's going to be an evolution of that, right? As long as we're in those seats,
We need a cab.
we'll adapt. That's what we've done over the years, from the going to where everything was manhandled to the industrial age, and we'll get through this, technology age too.
Yeah, we always joke because I go to Maersk. Sometimes I drive UTR. So that's wild because when I was a casual, there for each ship, maybe 5 cranes. So 7 UTRs per crane, 35 UTRs on a ship. Let's just say. Now it's like 2 or 3 UTRs for a whole ship.
Yeah.
So and they just need you to do a couple things. So that already is like wild. Like I just remember, like it was bustling down there, and now it's just like all these machines just going along. And we're like, yeah, there's like some little like Chinese kid just with a remote control from home, like operating.
That's kind of where we're at, right? You got like some yards that they operate on remote control.
Who
right?
operates them? Do we know?
The crane operators operate them.
Well, the crane
Talk
operators.
about like the yard, like
the
trade
trans.
back.
The trans is in
Yes.
the yard. Who are
Well, there's some for truck delivery, right? There's some
the truck
usually the truck delivery, but now it's gone to like where it's only if it's a problem it goes on, right? But you got some of the terminals that have operators like in a control room, LVCT, and some of.
Are they longshoremen?
Yes,
Yeah.
They are longshoremen.
They're crane operators.
They're crane operators.
They're crane operators.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Because Dad, you haven't been down there, right, to the automation?
At Maersk? No.
Yeah.
But I've seen when there used to be like 30 transits. Now you go there, there's nothing.
No.
They're transes, but they're just not the same.
No.
APM, because you were talking about UTRs, in a 24-hour period, they were the biggest employer in the city of Los Angeles. When you look at labor, outside trucker, vendors, mechanics, clerical, the sparkless waterman coming there, you're talking in a 24-hour period, they were the biggest employer in the city of Los Angeles, and they've completely gone to nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs.
Nothing.
So I have an issue. Well, in the political spectrum with Maersk, there's a lot there with that. I was dealing with them from the very beginning. But so you have the environmentalists and environmental groups that are backing up automation because they look at it as like, well, wait a minute, these companies are going to go clean air, zero emissions. That's the priority, right? The priority is just going zero emissions, whether or not labor loses their jobs or not. That's secondary, right?
Okay.
Where ours is the opposite. Ours is protecting our jobs, but combining the two, right? So what happens is a company like Maersk, when they go automated in their yard, and then with the premise that they're going clean air, which the environmentalist groups have backed them up and supported them. But where we're at right now is Maersk has gotten rid of a couple hundred jobs a day, right? Just by going automated. But the robots are running on diesel. So the priority was never for the clean air. The priority was obvious to get rid of labor first. That's the problem. Right? Where's the clean air at? Where's the alternative sources of fuel to run those machines? Right? So that was an eye awakener for us, right? That you had, and we try to tell the environmentalists, I try to tell them too, I said, look, you guys, you're going down the wrong path with this. This a solution, but it's not the solution that you think by just, endorsing these companies to go automated, because they're pushing labor out completely and still running on diesel. So that's not a solution.
No.
It's not the answer, right? So that's why we got to stand on top of these companies, because the first priority.
That's crazy.
First,
I didn't know that.
Yes, they're running around the clock too. At least we
Yeah.
took an hour break in between shifts, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right.
there's a lot with
Yeah.
that. So that's why, like, I have a passion for that, because I see it in front of my face. Sometimes the answer is right in front of us. You go to Maersk and you see those things running on diesel, you're like, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also not like the cost of, okay, so you're saving money. So are the cost of goods going down? Like, you know, having like everything's still like it's really doesn't benefit anybody.
No,
You
because
know,
we don't have the clean air that the environmentalists thought we would by them going automated. And at the same time, we lost hundreds of jobs, right?
Yeah.
So the
and our
priority,
import, like,
the
things-
priority is not with these companies to go clean air.
Wild. Mm-hmm.
That's our fight right there. That's our fight. That's why we have to fight for our jobs, because as soon as we turn our back for a second, the companies they're going to get rid of us first. And we will be out of a job and they'll still be running on diesel.
Have you talked to any of the like
Yes.
heads of companies? Or
Yes,
anything? You
yes.
have.
We've talked to the head of CARB, California Air Resource Board, which, push for some of these, have endorsed some of these companies for clean air on the premise that they're going to go. We've talked.
And what do they say?
It's been brought back. There was a newspaper article about it. I think Diane Middleton was even brought aware of it, because I know there's Local 13 is all over it too, like us. So, it's a problem. What we have to do is we have to learn from that, right? So how did they get there, right? They pull certain permits where they don't have to dig in the ground, which they call a level 1 permit, which is a whole nother story I could get into. But the companies now with technology, the companies are making it easy as possible, where they just put up a light pole, put some Wi-Fi on there, and then they're up and running, right?
Automated.
The robots are running. They don't got to dig up the ground anymore. They don't got to do all the infrastructure changes where it takes them a year. Some of the places already, because they don't want to do the environmental impact report. So when they EIR, as soon as they dig up the ground, they got to do soil samples. They got to see if the soil is contaminated. They got to see how that affects the environment, how that affects the natural wildlife or the dotted butterfly that may live around there, right? They don't want to deal with none of that, right? They just, as easy as possible, put up a pole, let's just go 5G, everything's running now like that, and, we have to stay on top of that to make sure that, first of all, like, obviously our health and safety, but at the same time that the companies, they don't just take advantage of whatever technology's out there to replace us that fast. Mm-hmm. It's going to get faster and less expensive, where they don't spend as much money as they used to.
No.
So it gets, as technology advances, it gets less expensive. It's going to be cheaper for these companies to do what they want to do to replace us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're lucky we have Drew behind the scenes
Yeah.
helping us out right now. He's
sure.
really important to all of, not only 94, 13, 63.
Yeah, the whole
everybody,
industry.
Everything around here. Thank you, Drew, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, something a little lighter. So we were talking about imports and exports. So I just was thinking, because you guys have a lot of years and a lot of experience, especially as Gearman too. What's the coolest thing that you've seen either import, like discharged or loaded onto a ship? The only thing I've seen is a huge yacht that was at, I think NYK. It took like I think maybe 2 days for them for this huge yacht to be discharged,
yeah.
and that was cool to watch as I'm whizzing by just the process of that. So is there anything cool that you've seen imported or exported? Dad, you were mentioning something
imported.
from
I
Las
was at
Vegas.
Yangming, and they were bringing in parts of a Ferris wheel for the Lynx. I think it's a Lynx in Las Vegas, and they had a special bridle and everything. They had guys,
Right.
cameras.
Yeah.
I mean, they had all kinds of big wigs up there, and we had to, do with the special bridle and everything. So now every time we go to Vegas, I said, "Hey, I'm part of that." Right
Oh,
there.
you took that off.
I
yeah.
took that off.
Did you ask for a free ride?
No, no.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Anything?
You know, when I was at Matson a couple of times, 2 different times, and those big sailboats, what's the Stars and Stripes, they were loading those on there to take them out there to do a race. So that was kind of cool. Like, you're actually seeing and handling this thing. But Coach and I were talking a couple of days ago. More importantly, when the circus used to go to Hawaii, I was there. All the animals were on the ship, on the row. They would be in trailers. Elephants, cows, whatever they took over there, all the monkeys and whatever animals are in a circus, the horses, everything. Like, they're all on their own little transportation style of cargo equipment. You know, they're trailers and stuff, and they're going up the ramp of the ship, and they have pallets of hay that come with them, and the guys walking around throwing them, feeding them, or whatever they needed. That was cool.
Yeah.
It smelled pretty bad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's always been like the military cargo, right? The tanks, you know, whatever, the missiles, all that stuff. You know, that either goes on the rail or comes off the rail. I've always been fascinated with that. It reminds me of a little kid, you know, playing with like, you know, your little toys in the dirt or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've recently seen a few tanks and I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, it's
Right.
kind of just
Where
like
they
you're
going?
saying, it's in front of your eyes.
It's in front
We're
of-
right here. We're like ground level of what's going on in the
100%,
economy.
all the time.
Like,
I tell that to people all the time. I like sometimes it's changing right in front of your eyes, but we're not paying attention because we're just go to work and then we go home.
yeah. Like, don't tell me nothing's happening because I just
Yeah.
passed 20 tanks that are going somewhere. So don't tell me nothing's happening.
When we were at D's in Wainimi, we drove those tanks.
What?
We got to drive them on the ship. Yeah. They do a lot of military on that construction side, on that Berth 3 side, and we drove those tanks.
Oh, that's
They let
cool.
us, yeah, all that military stuff, yeah. It was pretty cool.
Did you want to like shoot some guns off?
It looked a little confusing, but I think we could get it. We could do it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I recently also have been doing a lot of the Tesla batteries. I get so nervous because one, they're very heavy,
Oh
but
my
also
God.
like the reputation of those like catching fire. So I'm just like, ooh, like just driving my slowest, trying to get it to the yard. I just feel like it's precarious when you have, but we get a lot of batteries.
That's a big part of our industry now,
Yeah.
these batteries. We did, how many, Coach, at Yangming, what did we do, 400 of those?
Yeah. 400 of them. Right.
Yeah, ever since that battery that caught fire on Terminal Island, right? So that was kind of like another eye-opening experience for us too. Is like how to handle that, right? Especially like if those are coming into the terminals, we're unloading them and
Yes.
we're staging them on the terminals. Like we have to be aware of some kind of prevention or some kind of resources, what is needed to put out a fire like that.
Procedures.
We can't put out a fire procedurally, like
Yeah.
overheats. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that we need to find out first to protect our members from a catastrophe or a fire like that, because it's all new. So
Yeah.
Rita, now you know why I waited so long and I was so anxious to get both these guys on here. They did a great job for us. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
Coach.
thank you.
We're
You
glad
guys
to
did
be
a
here.
great job.
my main
My
man.
main man.
Yeah, Coach is good, man. Your dad's good.
He's
Solid.
all right.
He's
all right.
He's all right.
Galuppo, tell her to end it, the story about how we met.
Oh my God. Well, I never knew him as Coach. Back in the day, Coach, did you go by Eddie B? A lot of people knew you as Eddie B.
Yeah.
I just got this gear job at Yangming, and I had pull up to the clerk's area. I'm fueling trucks, and here he comes out. It's early, it's still dark, and somehow, whether he got to leave or whatever, I go, I'll be with you in a minute, blah blah blah. And by the way, and he goes, hey man, I'm gonna. I forgot how he put it, but the bottom line was big bank takes little bank. And I was like, he had this big old wad of money in his pocket, and I was like, I can't compete against you. I was brand new at the time. He was more seasoned than me. His wad was a little bit bigger than
He
mine.
just showed you his wad of money?
Well, he didn't show it to me, but he offered big bank takes little bank, and I already knew that.
There you.
Yeah, I already knew I was good.
I
I didn't want to lose my $2.
Right. I don't do that now. He's big.
What did you used to do?
No, he's big.
Oh,
bank.
he's big bank
He's
now.
big bank. Yeah, he's big bank.
I don't know about that.
It was just a game.
Yeah, we were just
Oh my God.
It was a game.
Eddie B.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah. Anything in closing now? Anything in closing to the audience? Or?
No,
What
man.
about
Just
advice
I think
or-
all four of us here, just being part of this great ILW family, we're so blessed and
Amen.
lucky. Like I can't, like looking back now, like my dream was to be a fireman, but now like this is it, man.
This is the life.
This
man.
is the life right here. Like who would have known, right?
Right.
Like it's been amazing. It's been an awesome ride. I can't believe already it's been 30 years. Like who would have?
Goes by fast.
Oh my God.
How
Yeah.
about you, Drew? Closing?
this has been a great experience, and thank you both for doing something like this podcast, because I think it helps inform maybe some people that don't have the time to learn about what's going on out there
Right.
every day, and like maybe gives them a little bit of a taste. But I'm this last week for me, I'm more excited, especially with the family history that we talked about.
Yeah.
And you're gonna, Ricky and Danny, if they come, you're gonna
They're gonna
hear
come,
all
yeah.
that story, because I love, when you get older, you end up appreciating more.
Yeah,
like,
you do.
your memories from your childhood, and then my mom has some great stories right now at this age. She just, and her memory is just
Yeah, she's
spot
sharp.
Nice.
on.
Sharp.
She just, it's like you almost could smell what she's portraying and coming out of her mouth. You know what I'm saying? The environment. But yeah, that's good stuff. We're gonna talk more about that.
For sure.
hopefully. For sure. That's awesome.
Mina?
All right. Thanks
Thank
you
you,
guys
guys.
for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to On the Waterfront with Coach.
And for more content, you can follow us on our Instagram page, On the Waterfront Pod, and you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
We'd appreciate if you subscribe and follow.
And thank you lastly to our partners at the Arts and Cultural Alliance for letting us use their beautiful building.
Thank you, Uncle Harry.